Oh, okay. Well, that totally ruined that. Okay, so anyway, you guys can hear me now. Um, because I'm a moron and I muted it. Anyway, I definitely not professional. I'm getting there. We're working there. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers, by the way. But I just wanted to let you guys know. Well, I think most of you picked up on it. Is that I wanted to do a moment of silence in honor of Kobe Bryant, my idol. He passed away. For those of you that don't know, and I'm pretty sure everyone on planet Earth knows that he passed away a year ago today. Him, Gigi, and a few others on that Mamba, um, that helicopter, and he was obviously near and dear to me. I'm a huge Lakers fan, as you guys know, and I just wanted to do something. I'm not huge, so I just wanted to do something to show a sign of support for him, his family, obviously the fans, and I mean I'll tell you right now, I was leaving on this day a year ago. I was leaving Mobile, Alabama, after a great trip to the Reese's Senior Bowl. Um, and now I'm actually not there this year, for the first time in 3 years. But I was leaving Mobile, Alabama, and I went to Detroit. And for the first time ever, I went to Detroit, and I was at the airport, and that's when I got the message. And like many people, I saw the TMZ article, and I instantly thought, this is clickbait, this is BS, there's no way. And then it came in from actual reliable sources, and I felt my heart sink. I don't cry. I'm not overly emotional. I was a wreck that day. Flying back to upstate New York, it was just such a brutal. It was a gut punch, if you will. So I just wanted to obviously honor my guy. Wearing his jersey right now. But yeah, it's just really unfortunate. And yeah, I mean, I hate to start the live stream on a negative note, or a solemn note, but I think it has to be said. He passed away a year ago today, and he meant a lot to all of us. So I'm just as you guys know, this is my channel, and that's what I decided to do. So we'll move on. We got a lot to talk about. I'm also, fair warning, so we're going to talk a lot about this whole Rams dynamic with Les Snead deleting Sam Bradford. I've said that. But I think kind of today, he was kind of alluding to, you can't delete Jared Goff, and I feel like that's what's going to happen. So I'm going to talk to you about why I think Jared Goff has played his last down for the Rams. I'm going to talk to you about, just a bunch of things, little things like, could Matthew Stafford be the guy under center? Could Devlin Hodges see any snaps this upcoming season? Is John Wolford going to be the guy? Are they just trying to get out of Goff's deal? Should we worry about the salary cap? All of that. I'll cover all of it. I'm also, fair warning, going to switch gears later on because I'm actually going to take bits of this video and turn it into a smaller video. And I'm going to rant about the Baseball Hall of Fame. Because as you can see below in the ticker, not one player made the Baseball Hall of Fame in the 2021 class. So I have a lot of thoughts on that. I think it's ridiculous, but I'm going to save it because I'm going to rant and I'm going to be passionate. And you guys know I can blow up over that. You guys saw me with the quarterback ecosystem thing on the AJ show. I'm very passionate, and that's that. So, all right, folks, we have almost 100 people in here. Pretty awesome. I really appreciate it. But now it's time to talk about, the topic at hand. Now, Les Snead has been very, very quiet, mainly because there hasn't been a scheduled interview or anything along those lines in regards to the situation at hand with Jared Goff. We knew it was coming, but basically Les Snead told everybody, look, Jared Goff, I'm not going to tell you outright that he's not our guy, but I'm also not going to tell you outright he is our guy. Well, by doing that, Les Snead pretty much told us Jared Goff is not the guy. We've already heard all of the Sean McVay stuff, how, the marriage counseling, yada, yada. This is, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? You have the Stephen A thing and the Adam Schefter thing. And, you don't constantly have quarterbacks being linked to the Rams if there's not actually something going on. And so for me, I'm thinking right now that there's something going on. And I've been thinking that for a while. It's why on the clip of that AJ show clip, I basically said, it's done. Goff is not going to be the starter next year. I'd be shocked if he was. And I know there was some blowback about that. I know there's a lot of Goff fans, and, people don't like that. And, I get that, but Goff is gone. I'm telling you right now, I'm saying it right now. I don't care, who calls me out if I'm wrong or anything like that, because I'm not going to be wrong. Goff is gone. They're going to trade him. Now, for those of you that don't believe me, just look at the ticker below. First off, the first quote, Les Snead, in an interview today. Not going to get into specifics on those. That's the beautiful mystery of the future. Jared Goff is a Ram at this moment. It's way too early to speculate. Beautiful mystery is the exact way Aaron Rodgers put together his offseason. That's what he was explaining. He said his future is a beautiful mystery. So that's either one, I'm not going to read too much into it, but it's either one, he's telling you something about Aaron Rodgers, about maybe they might have interest. Or two, he's just playing. And knowing Les Snead, that's probably the latter. The second one here, he's a Ram right now. Listen to those words. He's a Ram right now. He's number 2 in wins since he and Sean have partnered together. That's been a heck of a partnership. What do I think is the real thing that should come out of it? Hey, we want to be a better offense, and that includes Jared. So that's pretty much saying, hey, we just want a good offense. We just want to upgrade. We realize this, okay? We realize it. At the end of the day, we know our offense can be better. But there's another quote that's not in the ticker that basically, to summarize, he was saying how they want to not turn the ball over. They want to score more. They want to be more explosive and not turn the ball over. And sorry, hate to break it to you, Jared Goff has been turning the ball over a lot. 39 times over the last 2 years, leads the league in, turnovers. Includes Jameis Winston and Daniel Jones. So it may not be Aaron Rodgers. It may not be Matthew Stafford. It may not be Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson. I don't know who it's going to be. Deshaun Watson, I don't know. But Jared Goff is not going to start under center for the Los Angeles Rams next year. He's not. So that brings the next question. How are they going to get out of his out of his contract? For those of you that have listened to the show, I've kind of laid it out for you before. I mean, only 22 million is going to be eaten by the Rams if he leaves. And if you think that's a lot, that's not a lot of money, because the Rams ate over 30 million last year just to make sure Brandon Cooks and Todd Gurley weren't on the roster. So, yes, you don't want to eat a ton of money. You just don't normally. But in this case, the Rams can. They're going to. And it goes back to what I've been saying earlier with Stan Kroenke being an owner that's willing to open up his pocketbook, unlike the other guy that's across the road. So, yeah, that's where I'm at on that. I think Jared Goff has played his last down. I think Jared Goff deserves credit, as a legitimate starting quarterback in the NFL. But I think it kind of goes in line with our previous stream where I said, you have to know what your goals are. What are your goals? If your goal is to win a Super Bowl, Jared Goff is not going to do that for you. But a team that's maybe looking to place, maybe get in the playoffs, they might be interested. Or a team like the Colts that, may feel like they can develop him further and turn him into that guy. Maybe they're an option. I'm starting to feel like the Rams could go any which way. But there's going to be a splash. Make no mistake. There's going to be a splash this offseason. They're talking about big moves. You're not going to see John Johnson back. Also, news just came out that the Rams are unlikely to sign Gerald Everett, their tight end that they drafted in the second round of Sean McVay's first season with the Rams as head coach. So that's something. I figured that was the case, and many people did. But now we know, that's been reported. So not expected to sign Gerald Everett. I heard something on Samson Ebukam, but I can't confirm nor deny. And then John Johnson. So it's going to be a little different next year. We haven't heard anything on the Leonard Floyd front. Keep in mind, it is early. But you're going to start to hear about this stuff because, there's only two teams left in the whole thing, and at this point, it's like, we're already on to the Senior Bowl. We're already on to the pre-draft process in the offseason. Brandon Staley's already moved into the Chargers facility. He's not a Rams coach anymore. So, it's just, I don't know, it's a lot to keep up with, but, it's definitely something to keep in mind. And so I think, we all have to realize that as sad as it is, in the 2018 season going to the Super Bowl and everything, yeah, that happened with Goff, but Goff is not going to be around anymore. He's just not. So I will start looking at comments now. I feel like bad. I feel like a bad friend. Mock draft soon. So I used to come out with mock drafts like weekly. And then I realized I just want to get down as much information as I possibly can. I don't want to change my mock drafts based on the information I learn when I could just learn that information and then do a final mock draft. So I think I'm only going to do one for the Rams, and it's going to be the final one. I just think, for me, I want to make sure this is, like, I've said it in comments to you guys. I want to make sure every single piece of content is the best damn content that you deserve and that you can consume. I really do. I put a lot of effort into this. I don't like taking shortcuts or anything, so I don't want to come out with a mock draft like I've seen some people do. I won't name names. But I have seen some people come out with mock drafts, and they just don't even know what they're talking about. And it's not even that, it's like their opinion sucks, because, I haven't gotten fully into the draft, so I can't tell you if they do or not, and it's their opinion. It's more so if you were to challenge them and ask them why they picked this guy, they'd be like, I use this, yeah, why are you asking? It's like that backtracking. So I don't want to do that. I'll never do that. So here's the plan of attack for the draft season. As you guys know, Alexis Kraft is expected to fly into New York. She's expected to be a part of our draft coverage live show. Her, me, and my cousin, Adam Steele. You can follow both of their YouTube channels on my channel. I'm featuring them. So go give Alexis Kraft's YouTube a sub, as well as Adam Steele's, and the AJ Show, which is also there, and Downtown Sports Network while you're at it, which is my company. So yeah, so that's the first thing. Obviously, that'll be later on because of course that's draft day. We're gonna have first day of the draft. We're gonna have coverage. Second day and third day, and it's gonna be nonstop 3 days in a row live. And I don't know how big it'll be, but I'm hoping it'll be pretty big, and I think it will. So we're gonna do that. Looking to do pretty much the usual 350 player big board. So I might drop that in a video, or might even launch it on the stream. If you guys would be interested in that, unveiling my 350 player big board on the stream when I'm done with all my scouting. Let me know if you guys would be interested in that. Now the video I did on Trey Lance, there's a lot of people asking, are you going to do more Trey Lance videos? Or not Trey Lance, but more videos like that? I will. I'm not done with those. But they take a lot longer than I expected because I want it to be really good. So in order for it to be really good, it's going to take some time. I'm doing the live streams. I'm just trying to, keep up. And I mean, I wish this was my full-time job because trust me, you guys would have even better content and more of it. So, that's kind of where I'm at on that. Just trying to keep you guys up to speed on how I'm looking at the draft. And then we have the Senior Bowl, which is right now, which I was hoping to get some interviews from the Senior Bowl, but I'm not seeing. Well, I never got the email, so we'll see. I had a few interviews lined up tonight. I got tired of waiting, so that's why I scheduled the live for 10 instead of 9, was because I was waiting on those interviews, and I don't know what's going on. So, yeah, that's kind of the whole draft thing. I don't really have much else to say on that front. You're going to get a ton of content soon. I'm going to do a video. I'm going to keep doing those interview videos. I hope you guys enjoy those. I'm going to do those daily, just re-releases of interviews, and we're going to put interviews that we do moving forward. I'm trying to think what else. And I'll probably do that the Baseball Hall of Fame video as well. That it will be part of this whole live stream. So you guys will see the video in this live stream. Thank you, AZAA. I appreciate you donating to me once again. Could this be a tactic for Goff to play better? That's a good question. I've seen that mentioned. I'll tell you right now, it's not. They are basically saying, look, we don't want to absolutely trash Jared Goff, and we don't want to sit here and say that he's not valuable because it would absolutely kill our trade value for him. But they're telling you, without actually saying it, they're telling you they're moving on from him. They're absolutely moving him. It's not a redirect, because if it was, then I mean, it wouldn't be. They would never do that. It's really never happened before. They've tried to do redirects in the past, and you read right through them. Like I was teasing earlier with Les Snead at the Combine in 2015 offseason, and he says, well, you don't just delete Sam Bradford, and then not long after he deleted Sam Bradford and traded him for Nick Foles in a second rounder. So, I mean, I'm not trying to say that these guys aren't, trustworthy, but, they have jobs. They gotta, I don't know. I wouldn't say they're lying, but it's also part of the job in a sense. You can't just tell everyone what you're doing and all your tactics. It's a poker face. That's what it is. But good question, though. Yeah, you want me to stop talking about Trey? Chantry, so you're in love with Sprite now? I'm so sorry, Canada Dry. Okay, so here's the reason why there's no Canada Dry. Is because there's no Canada Dry in the mini fridge, and we have not restocked the mini fridge yet. We only had Sprite Canada Dry. I drank all the Canada Dry, have 48 bottles of water, and I think some Coronas in there. But I've been sticking with the Sprite. So when we restock Canada Dry, Canada Dry and I will be reunited. I know that's kind of the meme of the live here, but let's see here. I like Desmond Ridder for next year, 2021, if they don't trade another first round pick. I mean, I love Desmond Ridder, but I think the Rams are going to figure out their quarterback situation this year where they won't need to draft a guy next year. No one deserves it more than Matt Stafford, though, man. I'll tell you. I want Aaron Rodgers to win like 8 Super Bowls with the Rams. But talk about a guy in Matt Stafford that literally hasn't won a playoff game. I mean, they had him and Calvin Johnson never won a playoff game. I feel bad for Lions fans. I feel really bad for Stafford. Plus, just a great guy in the community. You bring him to LA, him and Kelly. LA's getting great people, not just a great player. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, they routinely would like shop for kids for Christmas and like would have them over. So they would come in like kind of like trick or treat, except they would come in and like give them presents. Like they're really good people, like genuine people. So you'd be getting some good people in the community. Let's see. Hamilcar Rashid Jr. in 3rd round can replace Leonard. Yeah, so I'm actually he's one of the guys I was trying to interview tonight because I put him on the list because I'm Senior Bowl credentialed, so that's why you like request different guys to be on, but still haven't gotten an email back. It's frustrating. But yeah, I like him. I like Quincy Roche or Roche. I mean, I really have to dive more into the draft. I'm not going to lie. And I don't fake it to make it. So I'm just going to tell you straight up that like I'm not fully immersed in the draft yet. Mainly because the Rams can't stop coming out with information and all this, stuff. Kellen Mond or Felipe Franks? You think so? Interesting. Let's see here. Yeah, the greatest at wasting generational talent. Lions need to stop abusing their all-stars. You guys think Brady's going to get his 7 rings? Yeah, I do. I think Tom Brady and the Bucs are going to win. I am pulling for the Chiefs, but I think Brady's going to win. Yeah, it does seem like the whole league is grabbing Rams, guys. So you updated your chance of Goff being the starter. Last I checked, it was 34%. Yeah, PPV, I'll say Jared Goff being the starter, 0% chance. I'm saying like he will not be the starter next year. He's gone. Do you think the Rams should draft St. Brown from USC? No, like here's the thing, and I know they actually mentioned like deep threat, which I know many of you are talking about. And it also tells me that they're moving on from Goff because they're going to get a deep threat. And then I know people that like Goff will be telling me, well, this is why if only Jared Goff had a deep threat. No, they're getting a deep threat because they feel now they're going to get a quarterback that can actually hit a guy deep down the field in stride and a guy that's willing to pull the trigger deep down the field. They don't feel Goff can do that. That's why they traded away Cooks. Didn't want to pay him $16 million per year for a guy that like, his best trait wasn't going to be used correctly. And you had to give Robert Woods a pay raise, and you had to pay Cooper Kupp. So it was like a no-brainer. Jake, they're going to trade Jared Goff for picks. Only big-time quarterback they could target is Stafford. Watson, Rodgers are out of the picture. Trade for a small-time quarterback like Minshew. Focus on Lance. I got to tell you right now, straight up, if the Rams come down to Matthew Stafford, Trey Lance, or Gardner Minshew, the Rams don't lose. All 3 of those are great options. Apparently, Jamie Newman, who you guys are like enthralled with, who I'm not very high on, apparently he had a huge day today at the Senior Bowl. Just want to let you guys know that. Man, it would have been fun if I was in my Senior Bowl hotel right now, like, the past 3 years doing the live stream, being able to tell you what I'm seeing at practices and who I talk to and Rams meetings. And now I can't do that because COVID. I mean, I could have gone out there, but it's not as interactive. Let me just tell you this. If you've never been to the Senior Bowl before, and I know most of you haven't, the Senior Bowl essentially is like, it's like NFL Mecca in a sense, because you go there and it's like heaven. Like you'll meet a coach. Like, so like I met Sean McDermott like 2 years ago, shook his hand. We had a solid conversation. All sorts of guys. Matt Rule, John Gruden, Jerry Jones like came right up next to me. Like he sat down next to me on the bleachers when I was scouting, and we had a conversation. Like it's totally normal there. So you know, it's a bummer that I'm not out there. I miss it. I really do. I haven't gone on vacation in a while, so I feel like I'm just like compressed into this bubble in New York. Um, the Jamie Newman fans are out. Wolford or Perkins? I'll go with Wolford, but I love them both. By the way, hi Jake. What's up, Chuck? Listen, I get all these other possible draft and trade possibilities, but I really want to see John Wolford start all season. Honestly, think they could replicate this year's record with him. I agree with you. I'm a lot higher on John Wolford than many others are. I'd be fine with him starting the next season. They'd win 10, 11 games. They'd either go 10-8, 10-7, or 11-6. Yes, there's 17 games on the NFL season next year, and I hate it. And I don't want to get into it because it's stupid. I don't approve of it. I hate it so much. I'm not a fan. What happened to that Goff? Hey, Jay, good evening, buddy. What's up, Jam? How we doing? So Devlin Hodges is a guy that can really work off script. Here's the thing I'll say about Devlin Hodges. I don't think he's getting enough credit. One, he has the most experience on this roster if the Rams get rid of Jared Goff tomorrow. So if the Rams were to trade Jared Goff tomorrow, which isn't realistic, but if the Rams could do that, say you're allowed to trade, then Devlin Hodges would have the most experience on the roster starting in games. So I don't know why everyone's like, oh, he's just a guy. He's a camp arm. No, he's not. He took over for Ben Roethlisberger in 2019. I get, he had 5 touchdowns, 8 interceptions or something along those lines. But what I'll say is right here is that Devlin Hodges played in an offense that had the OC Randy Fichtner. He's the worst OC I've ever seen in my entire life. Ask any Steelers fan. Randy Fichtner is the worst OC in football. And he's gone now for a reason. But you can't have it both ways. If you think Randy Fichtner's a bad OC when Big Ben is playing, but then you say, well, Devlin Hodges is trash, let me just tell you this straight up. I watched all those games with Hodges. I liked Hodges more than I liked Rudolph. And the reason is because he had mobility. Here's the problem, though. The Steelers refused, because of Randy Fichtner, to use him on the run. Get him out and cut the field in half on bootlegs the way Jared Goff has the field cut in half. Here's the thing. When a quarterback is nervous, so you have a guy that has literally been a UDFA, and he played his games at Samford. So he had one game in which he played like a legitimate team, FSU, and had like his best game. He threw a lot of interceptions, but he made some huge plays. And I'm sitting here thinking, this guy could be something if they let him go out and move. But the problem is the Steelers games, Randy Fichtner kept him in the pocket. So he was suppressing him the whole time. So his numbers were down. He wasn't able to be himself. And they didn't run those bootlegs to make things easier. When you have a quarterback that is very nervous, the way to get him going is to cut the field in half. By cutting the field in half, what are you doing? You're using a bootleg. When you use a bootleg, cuts the field in half, makes it easier to read the field. So they didn't do that. And that's the defense I'll make for Devlin Hodges. And there were injuries all last season. Juju got hurt. Deontay Johnson got hurt. So no, he didn't have Claypool. So no, he didn't have the receivers that Ben and company had this year. Obviously, that's not a knock on Ben. But yeah, I'm just letting you guys know, Devlin Hodges, he's good. I mean, he's not amazing because he's a UDFA and he wasn't expected to do what he's doing. He wasn't expected to have already started like 8 NFL games, but I think he's pretty solid, folks. And if he had a chance to, compete for the job with Sean McVay's offense, I think really Sean McVay can get the best out of everyone. And it would be really interesting to see him in Sean McVay's offense because I think he wouldn't be exactly like Wolford, but if I could show you some clips, I would. Let me see if I can actually, because I feel like I have something in here. I have something along the lines of Devlin Hodges. I think I have a GIF or something. Let me see here. I'm gonna look if I have any gifs or anything like that of his play. I'm gonna drop them so you can see. Ooh, I might. Oh, they're gifs, and it doesn't allow me to upload gifs. That's annoying. Oh, maybe. Hold on a sec. Let's see here. Okay. All right. Let's see. I might be able to do this. I just want to show you because I don't like saying, just trust me on this. I want to show you what I've seen and why I like him. So let's see here. Never mind. It's not allowing me. That's a bummer. All right. Well, it's not allowing me. I guess what I can show you is if you go to the Downtown Rams Twitter and you follow at Downtown Rams, if you scroll down, I retweeted the old thread that I did of Devlin Hodges' film. So if you want to check that out, definitely go do that. Now, let's see here. Appreciate you, Daniel. I just saw that you donated $5 to me. I really appreciate that. I would have said it earlier if I wasn't rambling on about Devlin Hodges, a.k.a. Duck Hodges. But I was. So I really appreciate you donating. Where Goff is just slow. I think, well, here's the thing. Okay, so I'm going to say this. I think there's a lot of people that, they look at Devlin Hodges and he's not physically imposing. They look at John Wolford, he's not physically imposing. But I think these guys can play in this league. And again, I'm really, really, really high on Sean McVay's offense. I just think, people that had their concerns about Sean McVay's offense, that was with Jared Goff, a guy that hasn't played the way that Sean McVay was accustomed to him playing in 2017 and 2018, so he couldn't call the same game. It's a completely different game. So I think that's important. Context matters. And so I think it's important to keep that in mind for sure. I see someone said something about Amari Rodgers. I'm a fan of his. What's up, Felix? Yeah, I'm a fan of Amari Rodgers, the wide receiver with Clemson. No, the offensive line, I'm going to say this right now. The offensive line is absolutely not the problem. So, the offensive line is a lot better than people thought. And I've said this a while, but I think I actually put the stats up in my notes to bring up this time. Because I'm just I'm over that narrative. It's not to just call you out. But I'm over the narrative that the offensive line isn't good. Okay, so according to PFF, they were number 7 pass blocking O-line. And pretty much the majority of the year, they're one of the top run blocking O-lines in the league. Amari Gainer? Where's Amari Gainer from? Hodges looks just like Wolford with a helmet on. Yeah. If we could get a really good mobile quarterback that can throw downfield, I think we can go to the Super Bowl. Yeah, I know. A fox, a wolf, a Terminator, or a duck? I don't know. Might have to say... I'd probably say a Terminator. I mean, I just realized that was an option, so... All right, folks. It's time. You guys ready? About to rant for the next, I want to say 10 minutes, we'll say. All right, time to rant. Okay. So the Major League Baseball, the Baseball Hall of Fame, they just announced today that nobody is going to be a Hall of Famer in 2021 for the first time since 2013. Now, I think this is honestly the most pathetic thing I've ever seen in my life. The fact that a Hall of Fame doesn't have a Hall of Fame class. I think it's pathetic on multiple fronts. First off, football would never do this, but football's also not dying. I loved baseball. I played baseball. But I find myself more and more each day feeling out of baseball. I don't feel like I'm part of the baseball, the love for it anymore. The love of the game, it's gone. Everybody's, the seam head analytic. Everybody's all about analytics. Ooh, WAR. Well, I don't care if he's batting 231. He's got a great WAR. He's third in the league in WAR. Well, you know what that leads you? It leads you to a 7-year deal or a 10-year deal, with Aaron Hicks. Congrats. You played yourself. So that annoys me. What also annoys me is these old baseball writers. These old baseball writers are like, oh my God, Curt Schilling is so mean. I can't put him in the Hall of Fame. There's no way. He's too mean. I'm not going to vote for him. So you have a guy that's mean, and then Barry Bonds, who was a Hall of Famer before he started taking steroids. So he's a Hall of Famer before he started taking steroids. He takes steroids. Okay, he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's fine. I'm totally fine with that. But hasn't he learned his lesson by now? Hasn't he suffered enough? How is he not in? And Roger Clemens? Really? So, and my favorite, who I will go to bat for every single time, Pete Rose. It is a blatant travesty that Pete Rose is not in the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose is the all-time hits leader. Barry Bonds is the all-time home run leader. And Roger Clemens is the Cy Young Award winner, all-time leading Cy Young Award winner. And you don't have either of those three in the Hall of Fame. So, that's fine, right? Whatever. No, it gets better. They decide to not have anybody in the Hall of Fame in 2021. Now, there are guys that literally, they've belonged in the Hall of Fame, but because of the way baseball is, they don't get in. Like a guy like, say, I don't know, Don Mattingly. Some of you know him as the coach of the Dodgers, the manager of the Dodgers. Don Mattingly was dominant. At one point, he was arguably the best hitter in baseball. He had a back injury. It threw him down, a peg. And all of a sudden, he's not in the Hall of Fame. He doesn't get to go to the Hall of Fame. He didn't have as long of a career. It's the longevity, right? Well, guess what? I don't care. Because in the longevity factor, if you use that, then Terrell Davis wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame and the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Do you know why Terrell Davis is a Hall of Famer? It's because Pro Football Hall of Fame, they put in talent. Talent gets in. We don't care. We don't have all of these, no, stop. Baseball is being ruined by older generation writers that are offended by players that either use steroids at one point or another and can't accept the fact that they were Hall of Famers before using steroids. The fact that Mr. Curt Schilling isn't the nicest guy ever, but he's also, he's a Hall of Famer. I'm sorry. Ty Cobb was a jerk. Isn't Ty Cobb the racist bigot? Wasn't that Ty Cobb? Everybody's always talking about, I've heard that repeatedly. How isn't Ty Cobb the one that would sharpen his cleats and stab other players, mostly black? Wasn't that Ty Cobb? He's in the Hall of Fame. So don't tell me Curt Schilling is too much of a mean person and then allow Ty Cobb in the Hall of Fame. Well, he's the Georgia Peach. I don't care. You can't have that double standard. And now, I don't mean to offend anybody who's, they love baseball. I'm not trying to say that the sport will be dead. But I'm saying that it's America's pastime, and kids are growing up and they're more focused on the NBA and the NFL and the Premier League soccer, and they're not as focused on baseball. I've seen it. I've seen the younger generation. They're not as interested in baseball as they used to be. And it's a sad thing because you know what? I've given baseball a lot of crap in this rant, but guess what? guess what? I gave the NFL even more crap about the way they don't handle, basically they don't handle, NFL Sunday well. Oh yeah, NFL Sunday, can't wait. We have 2 games on national cable. Cool. Awesome. Oh yeah, NFL, can't wait. We don't even count NFL championships, only Super Bowls. Awesome. So the 50s don't matter. Gotcha. All right. That makes sense. I mean, look, okay, at the end of the day, I think all these sports are great. I love baseball. I played baseball. But I gotta say, I am so tired of the way they handle things. I'm tired of their old school mentality. Let Bonds in the Hall of Fame. Okay? Let Bonds in the Hall of Fame. Let Schilling in the Hall of Fame. For the love of God, let Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. He didn't even cheat. I'm so tired of that. I'm really tired of that. Because the argument is, well, it hurt the integrity of the game. Okay. So if Pete Rose isn't in the Hall of Fame because he hurt the integrity of the game, then does 7 Super Bowl winner Tom Brady, if he wins the Super Bowl again, does he not make the Hall of Fame because of the whole Spygate thing and Deflategate? Because he was part of that and it hurt the integrity of the game? Are you not going to put Tom Brady in, who people call the GOAT? It's a load of crap. I'm sorry. Like Rafael Palmeiro, I wouldn't put him in the Hall of Fame. Palmeiro was a doubles hitter and then all of a sudden started taking steroids and he has more home runs than Reggie Jackson. Sorry, that guy is full of crap. No. Bonds was a Hall of Famer before he started taking steroids. Everyone knows it. He was a 5-tool player. I mean, Pete Rose, there's literally no argument for. You either are, you either want to side with Rob Manfred, who's the worst commissioner in all of sports, or you believe in what's right and that Pete Rose, well, hey, if you have an issue with what Pete Rose did, fine. I have no issue with the fact that you have an issue with that. That is your prerogative. But if you're going to say that Pete Rose still can't even be on a ballot, he can't even be in the Hall of Fame, I'm sorry, I can't subscribe to that notion. I think it's wrong, and I think you're missing out, straight up. And that's my rant. I hope baseball gets it figured out. I hope they cut it out with the analytics. I hope they stop with the, Hall of Fame empty class. Can you imagine before this Super Bowl if the Pro Football Hall of Fame was like, yeah, there's nobody in the Hall of Fame. No one was worthy. Guess what? If nobody's worthy to you, then you have 2 issues and 2 ways to solve them. Ready? Ready for them? 1, your writers are outdated and they aren't good. Get rid of them. Add new writers. Younger writers. Add new writers. Number 2, if you don't have enough guys to get in the Hall of Fame, guess what you do? It's very simple. You get rid of the 5-year rule. So why are we making guys wait 5 years after they retire if we're going to have years where guys don't even get in the Hall of Fame? That defeats the whole purpose, folks. The NFL needs that because, quite honestly, we have an abundance of people that belong in the Hall of Fame, but you're telling me that there's not enough Hall of Fame baseball players. I just don't buy that. So, yeah, get over that, end the 5-year rule, and I'm sorry. That's my rant. That's it. So, Hall of Fame, I had to, rant about that. And I had to rant about the fact that everyone's so worried about analytics. And I've played baseball. Baseball is about feel of the game. Baseball is about chemistry. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's overrated. Analytics are good. They shouldn't be the entire portion of the game. It's just like with football. So, that's my thoughts. I will be posting this as a video, a standalone video, my MLB rant video. But now back to the good stuff, right? You guys are sick of me ranting about baseball. I haven't really talked about baseball on here, but I had to say something. Also, shout out to Brandon Barnes, who came on yesterday. It was a lot of fun talking with him. I don't know if he's still on here, but I definitely enjoyed having the conversation with him and connecting with him, and now we're pretty good buds, so appreciate it. Could you ever see the Rams ever trade Goff, Whitworth, and more draft capital for the Colts' first rounder to get Mac Jones if he slipped? So I can't see the Rams trading for, like, I can't see the Rams getting Mac Jones. I don't think he offers what they need. So I'm going to say no. Could I see them trading Whitworth? I could, actually. I don't think that'd be the right way to deal with the veteran that's stuck his neck out for you and has been huge for you, but I could see them doing that. Can absolutely see them doing that with Goff, but I've said it. Every quarterback on the roster right now, including Devlin Hodges, is better than all the quarterbacks after the top four. I don't think Mac Jones is better than Hodges. I don't think he's better than Wolford. I don't think he's better than Perkins. Don't let recency bias get to you. There's a reason why Jalen Ramsey and 2 first-round picks for Jalen Ramsey sounds a lot better than Jalen Ramsey and Kayvon Chason and another pick. As soon as the player's drafted, that doesn't sound as good anymore, unless that player ends up becoming a superstar. So don't fall for the recency bias. I'll say this. Mac Jones was playing with some amazing talent. I'm not a big fan of his build. I do have questions about that because, that picture that came out, he has like a dad bod. I'm not saying my quarterback has to be totally ripped and be Arnold Schwarzenegger or anything like that, but I wasn't too much of a fan of that. But yeah, I'm not really it's not that I'm not a fan of Mac Jones. It's just, I don't think he's a first round talent. I think he's a second or third round guy. What's up, Brandon? I was talking about you earlier. I don't know if you heard me. Les Snead's going to be very aggressive. He's going to be very aggressive. I will check out Amari Gaynor. I'm not going to watch highlights, though. And I encourage you guys, if you can get tape, watch tape. Don't watch highlights. Highlights show you everything a guy does well. They don't show you everything a guy does poor. And so what that does is it gives you this misconception that this player can do this and that, but it's only showing you their best moments. So if you can, don't look at highlights. Because I've actually been asked from a couple people that are like young scouts like me, and maybe they're starting younger, and they're like, hey, should I look at highlights first and then tape? And I'm like, no, because if you look at highlights first, you see that one play where a guy, he makes this crazy one-hand catch. Now that's in your mind, and it's going to cloud your judgment, and you're going to be biased, and you're not going to be impartial. It's one of the reasons why I don't watch a ton of college football during the season, and I watch a lot of it, when draft season comes around, because I don't want college football and the emotions of a game that I'm watching, I don't want that to come in and maybe have any sort of bias or a preconceived notion that throws up my evaluation. I try to avoid that. Let's see. What position did I play in baseball? So I was a second base center fielder. So, I preferred second base and center field. Probably more so second base. I like the infield more. I didn't like getting cleats dug into my shin, but, when guys were stealing and I was covering the bag, but, is what it is. Check out tapes of Felipe Franks from Arkansas. Sleeper, I hope the Rams can draft him. If not, Kellen Mond from Texas A&M. Now, what I want to ask you guys is when you're talking about drafting a Felipe Franks or a Kellen Mond, you're not talking about them starting, right? You're just saying you want to get a guy that will be in that room and develop. Is that what you're like? Is that why you want Jamie Newman? Because I mean, I don't think there's a guy outside of the top four. Personally, you guys could absolutely be right. And when it's all said and done, I'll give you a shout out on that. But like you don't mean like guys like that are gonna start, right? You're talking more so you want a developmental guy. Oh, we got to 2,000. Thanks, Rams House. Appreciate it. It's been a long time coming. Not really. You guys are so awesome. I got there pretty quickly. Yeah, but the problem is with first base, I'm 5'8". You don't put a 5'8" guy at first base. I can tell you that much. No. Baseball's cool though because anybody can play the sport. Okay, Samuel. I think that's the way to go. If you draft a guy like Kellen Mond or you draft a guy like that, yeah, it was a Sprite. Because the thing is, if you draft a guy like Kellen Mond or you draft a guy like Felipe Franks, you can't expect them to start day one. But if you like their long term, like what they project, then I don't have a problem. If you do, then I don't have a problem with you going ahead and putting him in the quarterback room and seeing if you can develop him. What I will say though is that I think that the Rams should either go big or go home. They should either go for the big trade up or they should just, go after a guy via trade. Like they should either go for the big trade up and get a Trey Lance or they should just not do that and then they should grab Stafford or somebody like that. That's kind of where I'm at in that regard. I mean, think the Vikings, okay? The Vikings, they went and they got Sam Bradford via trade from the Eagles. And they had, of course, Teddy Bridgewater and Case Keenum. But that's, really the Vikings haven't had a they haven't had a true quarterback that they drafted since first round pick Christian Ponder. And that was a while ago. Goff to the Patriots. I'd like to see him go there. I'd like to see Belichick turn him into the next Tom Brady. Would hurt Tom Brady's GOAT argument. I'm worried about Stanford getting injured. Oh, okay. So I fell for this too. And I'm going to say this right now. Stafford's injury history is overblown. It is overblown, folks. We were lied to. Stafford's not injury prone. You ready for this? I'm going to pull it up right now. Matthew Stafford. 1 second. So Matthew Stafford has played in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, including this year, 9 games in which he started every single game, all 16 games out of his, 12-year career. So he's not injury prone. He gets hurt, but injury prone, I don't know if I would call him injury prone. He gets hurt a lot, but he's tough. I'm not ignoring you, Kellen Jones. There's just a lot of comments. I'm trying to keep up. I tried to read every comment, and now I can't. So the only way for me to see it 100% is to highlight it. I'm not ignoring you. I wouldn't ignore any of you on purpose. I don't think Pitts is going to go. Yeah, Pitts is not going to go to the Rams because they'd have to trade up, and they wouldn't do that. But he's a really good player. Oh, okay. I scrolled up. I saw Kellen Jones. What the Rams need this offseason, get Goff some competition, draft a new middle linebacker, O-lineman, simplify offense for Goff. Bro, I saw CBS's mock draft. They said Rondell Moore as a first rounder, but a Rams mock draft said they would get him in the 6th. See what I mean? Do you see what I mean? Based off what Snead said, he finna get Goff out. See, I just read all your comments, Kellen. We're good. You're welcome, Ted. Yeah, what? Okay. Yeah. So that's that as far as, those questions. But does anybody have any questions before we good for now? Before we get somebody on here? What's up, Sir Blazing? How we doing? Who's ready to get on the line? I want to get somebody on the line and we'll talk. Let's see. Anybody gonna call in? You just go to Discord and you go on the. It's the first person that goes into the Discord live call in voice chat, and I'll bring you on. I'm just waiting on somebody to join. First person. All right. Yeah, so I'm in here. I'll wait. Someone at my school is named Kellen Jones. It's a decently popular name. All right, I'm gonna drop the Discord. 1 second. I'm waiting on all y'all. And I posted the Discord link. Whoever. Oh, we got somebody. Ramsey Zone, welcome to the show. I guess I'm just waiting on him to get his Oh, I hear something. Can you hear me? I can hear something. I'm sure everybody else can. Hmm. Would I rather have Wentz or Darnold? Um, I'll probably say Wentz. I think Wentz can be fixed. I think Wentz has a higher upside. I think Wentz is better than Darnold right now. I like Darnold though. Am I a demon? I don't think I'm a demon. Ooh,
Yo,
there we go. We got somebody talking.
man.
What is up? Lord Crescido, right?
Yeah, or you just call me Chris.
Oh, okay. Well, I will call you Chris. How we doing?
I'm doing great, man.
Well, welcome
All
to the
this
show.
news coming up,
It's a lot.
pretty interesting.
It is a lot. It makes my job easier because it gets people hyped. It gets people in here. Allows me to make some cool little. I mean, I'm not a great graphic designer or anything. Don't hire me, but allows me to make those cool little thumbnails. I got to use the delete button today. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Well, welcome to the show. I guess I should probably ask you a question, or you can ask me a question. Up to you.
Something I've been curious about
Yeah, go right ahead.
is why haven't what's his name, Bryson Hopkins, man? They didn't use him at all this year.
Oh, I know. I love Bryson Hopkins. I
Yeah, I've seen other people talk about him. I was like, he looks like he could be pretty good. Like, what, what happened?
Yeah, so you might already know this if you've been following me, but I am really, really high on Bryson Hopkins. He was my number one tight end. I met Bryson um, at the Senior Bowl last year, and we spoke about his meeting with the Rams, and his face lit up when I asked him what his meeting with the Rams was like. He said, first off, they envisioned me in kind of this tandem with him and Tyler. He meant Tyler Higbee, and so that kind of gave me the tip right off the bat. I'm like, okay, so they're not going to bring Gerald Everett back, which then it comes out today that they're probably not. So yeah, I mean, he was super excited, and they talked to him for a while, and he said that was definitely one of his favorite visits. And then sure enough, he's there in the fourth round. He's on my board. I think it's 64. I want to say he was my 64th overall player. So Rams get my 64th overall player in the fourth round and don't even really use him. So I was kind of annoyed, but excited for him this upcoming year. He's going to be the guy next to Higbee, I think.
Yeah, I'm hoping he can block a little bit. 'Cause I feel like sometimes Everett just wasn't cutting it with blocking. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like somebody would just blow right past him.
So the weird thing with Everett this year is I would agree with you last year. This year he made significant strides, I thought, in the blocking department. His problem is he all of a sudden was dropping everything every which way, and he really at one point, I don't know if this is still the case, but on the NFL what is it, NFL I forget, it's the analytics, the next gen stats, there we go. Next gen stats at one point in the season, late in the season, had Gerald Everett at an average separation of nearly almost 5 yards, average separation, which would put him at the highest separation among all receivers, tight end and wide receivers in the league. So obviously he's getting open. Goff is hitting him in the hands and he's dropping it. Well, and also Wolford with the touchdown he dropped in the end zone. So
Beauty, dude.
uh, so it's very frustrating. I met Gerald in 2017 after the Rams Giants game, and just full energy. Seemed like a really nice guy. Was meeting with all the fans, and I liked him coming out of South Alabama. He wasn't my top pick. My guy was George Kittle at tight end, and he ended up being pretty good. But I was really hoping for Gerald, and in 2018, the catch in the Kansas City game to go up 54-51, I felt to me like that was a turning point in his career, or it could have been. and he didn't really turn it into like a launch point. I feel like it was just kind of like that's who he is. He'll have those big plays, and then at times when you need him, he'll drop the wide open pass in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of somebody else. When you think about it,
Who was that?
16. You know,
Oh, Jared Goff. Yeah. I mean, hey, it's going to be a different looking Rams roster next year. And before people freak out, I was listening to some of my interviews of last year, or going into this year, and it's funny how it seemed like a lot of people that had on, they had the Rams kind of pegged as that team that was going to be bottom of their division, and there's a lot of turnover, and I don't think they're going to be as good. And notice we're having that same thing. One thing I forgot to point out to you guys is that I think it was Snead that said it. They're trying to keep the Brandon Staley defense intact. They want to use the same scheme, same system, but they're going to use wrinkles of Raheem Morris's defense as well. So this thing could be a little beast if it's done correctly. So we'll see.
yeah.
You know. So one thing. Okay. So who's your favorite player on the Rams? I'll ask you that.
I mean, I could be basic and just say Aaron Donald, man, but uh, who,
Basic.
Littleton always stood out to me.
That was my
I
guy.
did buy a jersey for him. That yeah, he was dope. Um, what else am I really thinking here? I mean, Cam obviously now.
Cam Akers. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Woods doesn't get enough love sometimes, man. I bought his jersey.
Uh,
You know,
I love Woods.
yeah. I know, like going to the games, all I see is 99, or back then it was 30. I see Todd Gurley jerseys,
Yeah.
some Goff, but mostly at the games I would just see I see mostly 99.
I feel that. It's he's definitely obviously one of the best. I mean, without a doubt. So I mean, you mentioned Littleton. I think at one point or another he was my favorite. And it was really cool when I got to meet him outside after the Rams Packers game and tell him that he belonged in the All Pro conversation. His like eyes like popped. It was like,
In 2018.
yeah, I thought
Oh,
he,
you went to the game? Yeah, I was there too.
yeah. Well, I mean that was I was out there. I think maybe 2 or 3 days later, I'm at Sony Picture Studios and I get an alert on my phone and it's the Rams have traded for Dante Fowler, and I lost my mind because I loved Fowler at the time and felt like I think I did a video on my old YouTube channel that I don't want anybody to pull up. Um, I maybe I'm wrong, but I was a big fan of his. And I was convinced that the Jaguars had no idea what they were doing with him, and he was being used incorrectly. So I was really happy to see him utilized the way he should have been utilized. And then, that whole season was just very magical. I'm really shocked that the Rams didn't end up taking home the Lombardi that year because it seemed like things, even like down to, those two losses at the end of the season when everybody had the panic button pushed, and I was sitting there like, they're going to win the Super Bowl. It's like I don't really care who's under, I don't care who's under center. I don't care who's running the football. This team is going to win it all. And then when they lost in the Super Bowl, I was kind of shocked.
Yeah, I'm sure like everybody, that game was really shocking to me, man.
Yeah.
Obviously, I thought more points were gonna happen, but then people like to complain about the line, but then it just makes me think because in 2018, they were even voted like the best line, right?
Yeah.
Like the best line that year. And then I think about the Super Bowl, and I'm like, he had the line in the Super Bowl, and I feel like when you kind of think about it, the Patriots' game plan was just really indicative, like how they felt about Goff and like the run game. They just really sold out. You're right, to like stop the run and just put pressure on them, and it seemed obviously it worked.
Yeah. So it's it's funny how it's constantly like the offensive line when I mean, okay, so I will have to drop this interview because it was really cool and I don't think I'll ever have the interview again. But I actually talked to Anthony Munoz. Do you know who that is?
From the Jets, right?
Well, no,
He was on the
well, I mean, he might have been
or
on the
the
Jets,
Bengals,
but he was on the
right? Bengals.
Bengals. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I had Anthony Munoz on my show, and he came on. Like, it was funny because they reached out to me. His agent reached out to me and was like, "Hey, are you at Super Bowl whatever? I forget what it's called, radio or something." And it's like media week, right? And so I'm sitting there like, no, I'm actually at my desk job right now at work and wishing I was there. And he basically emailed me and he's like, all right, well, I'll tell you what, tomorrow, if you can get up, it was Radio Row. He's like, I'll tell you what, tomorrow, if you can get up real early, we'll have you, Anthony Munoz call in. And so he calls in and, he's a big, sponsor or, somebody spokesperson for the Built Ford Tough Offensive Player of the Year award. So he came on my show back when I was, going solo at it. He came on my show to talk about the Built Ford Tough Offensive Player of the Year award, and the Rams ended up offensive line of the year award. Sorry, and the Rams ended up winning it. And I was like, oh, now I get why he wanted to go on a Rams podcast. It's cool they chose mine, but yeah, it was cool having him on. I'll post that interview at some point down the line. But yeah, no, just kind of going back to your point though, I feel like the Rams have had really good offensive lines, and obviously it's not going to be perfect, but I'll say this: I feel like Jared Goff and sometimes how he can, it looks like he's a deer in the headlights. It makes the offensive line look worse than it truly is.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Sometimes I feel like I can feel like how the word I'm skipping my mind right now. How nervous he looked, man. Like when pressure would start coming, I feel like I can almost feel it. Like when somebody drops a pass or something, and then maybe you'd be like second and long. I almost feel like I could feel the momentum or whatever just watching. Be like, wow, dude, like it seems so hard to get like another 5 yards. It's so bizarre.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel that. Um, now I want to get your thoughts. If you could have any of the guys that have been mentioned and linked to the Rams, who would you want under center at quarterback?
Watson, dude. Even before even before the season, I remember talking to my dad about like, it'd be kind of cool if Watson was on the Rams, but obviously that would never happen. And then as the season continued, you start seeing like I'd even kind of like tease with my dad when we like watch the games. I'd be like, man,
Yeah.
get Watson a real team. Because I have him on my fantasy team, and I remember one time I looked on my phone and I saw that the kicker caught a pass from him. And I'm like, dude, he doesn't have a kicker. The kicker caught a pass. Like, I was like, for real? I was like, my God, dude, like imagine this guy with like some actual weapons. And then a few weeks later, he starts talking about, he's not happy, and then, everything that's going on now. And I'm like, Jesus, dude, like how weird is that? Like there's a possibility that the Rams can get him. Obviously it could be pretty minimal, but it's still there, it's pretty weird.
It's very weird the fact that's even possible, and honestly, this off season is going to be the weirdest one yet. And I feel like we say that every year, but I mean, we're talking about the potential of having a different signal caller. The potential, I'll say, there's 0% chance Goff is starting next year, so the potential is out the window. They're going to get a new signal caller, whether it's the guy on the roster, Wolford or not, is the question. But I think they're definitely going to make a splash. Now, is there anybody in the draft that you would want? That's realistic for the Rams.
I mean, you talked me up on Trey Lance, dude. He seems pretty legit.
Well, I like to hear that. I try to do my best. I obviously don't want to be a total echo chamber, but there are times where I feel like this guy's it, and it's not enough. There's not enough talk about him, and so I'm gonna throw his name out there. I did that with I did that with Kittle. I did it with Godwin as well. When everyone was all over Mike Williams from Clemson, I was like, well, you guys need to check out Chris Godwin from Penn State. And then everyone was like, no, well, Juju Smith-Schuster, he went to USC. I'm like, I'll tell you right now, I like USC. Okay, I don't really care for Penn State, but you gotta take away the school and like bias from it, and that's how you'll end up with the best player possible. If you insert bias in any sort of draft evaluation, you will fail. Guaranteed. You may get lucky once or twice, but you will fail if you continue to do that. And so that's why I was like, um, yeah, I saw Chris Godwin and I was like, this guy really reminds me of like a Hines Ward in a sense. He really does it all, and he's a nasty blocker, when he wants to be. So, him and then George Kittle was just a no brainer. I don't know how people missed him. I don't know how he fell to the fifth round. Um, just looking at the tape, I mean, it was like honestly the blind side with Michael Oher when, that one scene where he just shoves the guy like completely out of the play. Like he just keeps, shoving him. He's blocking him and he like blocks him in the back of the end zone, doesn't stop. Like that's how it was like watching George Kittle block. And then when I saw CJ Beathard, who ironically they drafted before him, I don't know what possessed them to do that, but CJ Beathard was his quarterback and he overthrew him all the time. And Kittle was like diving and making these one-handed catches and what have you. And then he goes to the combine, runs like a 4.5 40. I was like, oh, get this guy now. Like it's a no-brainer. Like, so I don't know how he fell to the fifth round. I don't know what people are looking at, to be honest with you. But I will say that you always want to leave those biases out the door because there are times where it's like, I'm a big Kansas fan. I fall in love with a Kansas guy, but as far as a prospect, I'm like, I don't know if he's going to get drafted. I can't just sit here and be like, oh, well, I love him, so I hope he's definitely going to. I can hope he does, but that's how I am at the end of the day. So, one thing, basically with everything going on, what is the one piece of news that has shocked you during this this news circuit?
News that shocked me, huh? I can't really think of much. Like,
Well, you weren't
I feel
shocked
like
by the
Goff
whole
is
Goff thing?
no, not really.
I don't think
Just
many
by
people
telling
were, to be honest with you.
body language and everything, and then everything just keeps trickling out little by little. So I'm kind of like, well, this is really interesting.
I mean, I think I was most
Uh,
shocked by Aubrey Pleasant. I didn't think he was going to leave.
I
So,
just find the timing of everything really bizarre and maybe too coincidental. I feel like at the time I was thinking too much into it. I was watching the Laker game a few weeks back,
mm,
before the Packers for the playoff game. I think it was on Friday. And then I remember it was really weird. It was like towards the end of the fourth quarter, and then the announcer starts talking about the Rams, and I'm like, okay, cool, like dope. And then he starts saying, the reason I bring it up is because we have a QB in here, a really good one, Deshaun Watson. And I was like, what the heck? I'm like, okay. I thought that was random. I was like, okay, I don't know how you're really putting one and one together, but I guess.
yeah.
I was like, all right, that's random as hell. And then come next morning, that whole news with Stephen A, which I don't really know if that should really, take his leaks with a grain of salt, I guess.
I hear
But
you
I just
there.
found it, really coincidental that all of a sudden he just throws in the Rams about Deshaun Watson. I'm like, what the fuck? Like I literally just watched. I'm sorry for the curse, but
You're
I
fine.
just watched the Laker game, last night, and then they were bringing up Deshaun and the Rams, and I just found it really weird.
Yeah, I mean, I was.
And then news trickling out, and then we have the 10th best odds, which still 10th is pretty. 10th is not that bad. Obviously, the Jets and the Dolphins got a better shot, obviously, but it's still interesting.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, I was a little shocked that the whole Watson thing, like the whole fallout and everything, was a little weird. Um, the whole. I mean, I knew Staley was going to go to the Chargers. I said it on Twitter, and like everyone's like, "Don't say that."
That's such a good job from, yeah, but yeah.
It's the best job. Okay, it's the best head coaching job I've seen in the last decade. Straight up,
Yeah, that team's ready to go, dude.
I'd say
It's
it's.
maybe a little bit better for the line, maybe just a little bit, but I don't know. It seems like um, Herbert could really handle it.
See, I think just you're starting right off the bat with Herbert. You're starting right off the bat with guys like Bosa and Ingram and Derwin, and Kenneth Murray and Jerry Tillery and Chris
Mm.
Harris Jr. and I mean the list goes on. It's a very loaded defense, and I just think there's way too much there. Plus, you're in LA, and you were literally in the same building that you were just in. So I don't know. To me, I'm not. I don't. I think that's the best one. I mean, you could argue honorable mention goes to the Colts when Andrew Luck was there after they fired Ryan Grigson and Chuck Pagano. Um, Aside from that,
I do feel like the Jets are actually interesting. I know everybody likes to hate,
oh, I
but
agree.
I do feel like there's some pieces there, man. Like they got a lot of cap, picks. It is pretty interesting. Pretty. I guess for a coach, it'd be pretty fun to build on. With all that leeway.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm a little higher on the Jets than most people. I think that they could have gone 7-9 with a competent coach. I just don't think their coach is very competent, and he signed it's just not a very good coaching staff. I mean, from
Yeah.
top to
Hopefully
bottom.
the Seahawks hire him, dude, for the OC.
Yeah,
That'd be pretty nice.
yeah, it's the Seahawks. They were looking at Shane Waldron from the Rams. I
Yeah.
I know the Rams can't like block that because it would be like a promotion. But there's something about that I don't like. That you can just like you can lose a guy to your rival and there's nothing you like. I don't know. At some point, it's like I'm not against. And I actually had this conversation on Twitter and people came at me and were not happy. I'm not necessarily against moving up in the world. Like obviously, like I'm not. I'm the one that said repeatedly 2 years ago that Aubrey Pleasant should be the guy that takes over for Wade Phillips. So I'm not against that. Oh, he did get hired by Seattle.
Wait, he did get hired? I know that they were interviewing him, but
Wow.
he's the new OC. This new? Just happened?
Yeah, apparently there's two people in the one, two,
Oh my
three.
god, yeah, 7 minutes ago. Just check Twitter.
Wow. We were just talking
Yeah.
about that. I didn't even see that. That is nuts, man. Yeah, see, I don't love that because again, you're like he's going to a rival. It's like I don't know. Like good for him, but
Oh, maybe they got somebody we could pluck away. Eye for an eye. We do need like a DB coach, linebackers coach.
yeah. My someone just added me on Twitter and they're like just checking on Jake right now. Um yeah, that's frustrating.
They got a lot of work to do once McVay gets back from Cabo, huh?
Yeah, I mean, sheesh. So
I
the
can see why he took the trip, man.
so the
He got a lot of
Rams I mean, apparently the team that's about to win their second Super Bowl if they win another one in
yeah,
a
nobody
row.
wants
No one
anybody.
wants their coaching, but everyone wants the Rams who have you could argue, and again, I know people will be pissed I'm saying this, but you could argue they've underachieved.
Oh yeah.
And everyone's freaking out over the Rams coaching staff. They lost Waldron, they lost Brad Holmes and Ray Agnew in their front office, and they lose Joe Barry and Aubrey Pleasant. And Brandon Staley. They lose defensive coordinator, of course.
There's talks about losing Farmar too, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I think they're gonna promote Farmer.
Yeah.
Ray Farmer, yeah. Rams are not expected to re-sign free agents Malcolm Brown, Gerald Everett, or Josh Reynolds.
Eh. You know what I wanted to see was more Raymond Calais.
I
I
wanted to
did
see
find it
more
weird
Raymond
that we didn't.
Clay.
And they were really talking up Xavier Jones, dude. Nothing. I don't think did he even dress up at all? You know what I mean? Was he
He
ever activated?
he got IR'd at some point. He had nine. I think he had 9 kick returns. So at one point or another, he did dress and like he played in multiple games. But I think at the day though, going back to the coaching staff, I think when you have Sean McVay, you're good. And I know it's kind of a cliche thing, but Sean McVay's so good at basically networking with guys and all of that. So I think at the end of the day, they're going to be fine. He's going to be able to grab coaches to replace. And they did grab the guy that he's really high on, Zach Robinson from PFF. He was the quarterback coach, assistant quarterback coach. Now he's the wide receivers assistant, I think, or something along those lines. So he's a name to look out for. And then they have Eric Yarber, their wide receivers coach, who does a great job, doesn't really get enough credit. And that's kind of off the top of my head. They have Dickerson, the assistant offensive line coach. I'm going to look at their coaching staff right now because they have a really good coaching staff. There's a reason why they're always plucked. So right now, Sean McVay, Raheem Morris, defensive coordinator, Kevin O'Connell, offensive coordinator, Joe Day Camillus is the special teams coordinator. Aaron Cromer's the run game coordinator and offensive line. They lost Shane Waldron, who's the passing game coordinator. They lost Joe Barry, who was the assistant head coach, linebackers coach. John Bonamego has gone from special teams coordinator to the senior coaching assistant, whatever that is. Thomas Brown is going to be the running backs coach. Assistant defensive line, Thad Bogardis. Defensive quality control, Jonathan Cooley. I think that's somebody that played in the NFL. That sounds really familiar. Andy Dickerson's the guy I was thinking of, assistant offensive line. Ejiro Aviro is the safeties coach. Defensive line coach, Eric Henderson. He's a very good up-and-coming coach they got from the Chargers 2 years ago, I think. Maybe this year. Offensive quality control, Zach Cromer. That's Aaron Cromer's son. Somebody that is expected to go up the ranks. Ejiro Aviro is very good as well. The guy I mentioned. Justin Lovett is very good head strength coach. Bill Nays, assistant to the head coach. Assistant strength and conditioning for Fernando Noriega. Tight ends coach Wes Phillips. That's Wade Phillips' son. Very well respected. Kind of up and coming coach there. He could probably take over as the passing game coordinator for Waldron. Assistant wide receivers coach Zach Robinson. He's had 2 years of coaching experience. Somebody that they really like long term. Outside linebackers coach Chris Shula. I mentioned him as an option to potentially take over as the defense coordinator if they went in-house, as well as Eric Henderson and Aubrey Pleasant. Eric Yarber, wide receivers coach, I mentioned, very good at his craft. Assistant strength and conditioning, Dustin Woods, and then assistant special teams coach, Torrey Woodbury, who actually took over this past year. So he's a 1-year guy. So they have a lot of guys on that coaching staff. But I want to turn your attention over to Wes Phillips. If you're looking at like who could take over and be like, the future of this coaching staff, Wes Phillips definitely, and then Zach Robinson on the offensive side. The defensive side, you're going to want to look at Eric Henderson for sure. I think right now he's the face of that. And you could say Thomas Brown, the running backs coach they got from, I believe, Georgia, I want to say. He was a 9-year guy at Georgia. He didn't have all 9 years there, but I believe at one point he was a receivers coach. Then he became a running back coach. So the Rams got him. And then Zach Robinson he's a 2-year guy. He was at PFF, like I mentioned. Wes Phillips, of course, is Wade Phillips' kid. And, I think they have some good stuff there. Now, Sean McVay is going to want to add some new guys, of course. So, we'll see how this goes, but it's not a bad-looking coaching staff, even after getting plucked, and that is a credit to Sean McVay himself for, pretty much setting himself up in case he does get plucked. And here's the thing. I don't even think Sean McVay looks at it as he's getting plucked. I think he just looks at it as pushing guys to the next level. If, in case you're wondering where, Yarber probably sounds familiar, he was at UCLA. So, that's somebody. He was a UCLA Bruins wide receiver coach. So that is, I think, from 2012 to, I want to say, 2016. And then he joined the Rams in 2017. So, yeah, those are the coaches. I don't know. Anybody have anybody in mind for that can join this coaching staff, since it looks like they're going to be hurting?
I mean, I'm free, but I don't know if I'll be any good. But give it a shot.
Yeah,
learn as I go.
I'm literally I will never get into coaching. I didn't play the game. I don't feel like I could coach the game. I'm more of give me the personnel front office position, and I won't make you regret it.
Yeah, I feel that.
That's always been me. I mean, that's just, that's what it is.
You know what I find interesting? I read somebody's comment, and I was like, and that got me thinking. He said, as soon as we lost to Green Bay, it's been a feeding frenzy on our coaching staff. And then I started thinking, you know, maybe they're really, eating up our coaching staff just because uh, they didn't expect much from us. You know what I mean? Like they felt like, before the season even started, you know, there was a lot of people thinking that we're not going to do too well. We didn't have enough pieces and all that stuff.
Oh, I see what you're
And
saying.
then, it's just interesting to me. I wonder if like, now that, the season's over, I wonder if they're thinking, like all those unsigned guys and everything were really contributors. So I wonder if they're like, this coaching staff seems pretty strong if they're able to, be able to raise these guys to, like be able to play well
Yeah.
instead of, Kansas City, you got a lot of talent over there. I wonder if they're like, there's a lot of players over there, big name guys now. Like, is it really, are the coaches really that good? You know what I mean? As
Yeah, no,
opposed to us, like, we had question marks on linebacker, our other DBs. Like, of course, like Rams people were like had faith in Darius and everything, but maybe other people looking the outside looking in, had no idea.
yeah, it's true. One of those guys that was really high on Darius Williams was Holmes, and now he's gone. And it's interesting. Here's something you might not have thought of. Think about the Rams in the draft. Brad Holmes knows exactly who they're going to go after. He knows the type of players that they're interested in. He knows the type of scheme that they're. I mean, if they're gonna fight fire with the stealing the coaches and everything, they're not gonna stop with trying to make their team better and take guys that maybe the Rams were targeting in the draft. So it's always something to keep in mind.
Yo, have you like watched tape on anybody on the D line that could maybe get Donald a little more help just in case he gets hurt again? Maybe we could still get some pressure. Have you seen anybody?
I haven't seen too much. I cannot wait till I can sit here. Oh, you guys are gonna want me to like shut up when I have finished watching all my film and I have all my grades because I'm gonna be on this thing for 5 hours live. Like, I'm gonna be
Oh
like
man,
nonstop. Like, oh, this guy, all this. No, I think one guy I watched was Jalen Twyman, from Pitt, and I like him. I think someone mentioned him in the chat. I definitely like him. But as far as that goes, I mean, I just haven't really gotten too much into my watching. I've been really focusing on the quarterbacks. Trying to branch out because it's the Senior Bowl and I want to know more than just quarterbacks right now. But um, I guess it's kind of late. But as far as guys that like names that I haven't really watched a ton, but like there's Twyman, there's Carlo Kemp, sorry, from Michigan. There's Darius Stills. Somebody I watched Stills and I watched Twyman. Stills is from West Virginia. Twyman is from Pitt, and Kemp is from Michigan. And then Tyler Shelvin from LSU. And I think all those guys will be there on day 2, late day 2, early day 3. And then that's pretty much it. Davian Nixon from Iowa, I would say. But I need to, again, I have to watch way more. So,
yeah, that guy from Pitt. I'm sure Donald will love him, huh?
yeah. Well, I'm sure
Show
he'll
some
know more
people.
about him. And what's interesting is that last name. Because that last name, that's the same name as the PR guy for the Rams, Artist
What was
Twyman.
it again?
Artist Twyman.
Twyman. All right.
Yeah, I don't think they're related. I'll actually have to look that up. But let's see here.
You seen any centers, dude? Any maulers or anything you can get on the O line?
For center, um,
Yeah,
I'm
maybe like an upgrade
really,
over Blythe. You know?
I'm really high on Creed Humphrey. I like him. Landon Dickerson, more interior offensive line in general. I think they can all play center. Um, I think those two guys, Trey Smith from Tennessee, And then Sedarius Hutcherson from South Carolina as well. Those are, more interior guys that I like. Drake Jackson from Kentucky. I need to watch way more film, but I can't wait to do it because I think this is gonna be the biggest year yet. Especially that I have this channel and I have 142 people watching me and it's almost midnight. Like, and that's consistent now. So it's really cool. It's a legitimate platform, and I can share my knowledge and I can learn a thing or two because I've been learning. I mean, you guys, hey, pat yourselves on the back. I didn't know that Shane Waldron went to the Seattle Seahawks. You guys had to tell me Shane Waldron went to the Seattle Seahawks. I did not know that. So that was you guys. You learn something new every day.
Yeah, watch the Rams just draft another running back and tight end though.
If they do that, then they should get Puka Williams. But I don't know if he's gonna come out. But if he does, then yeah, they should get Puka Williams.
That's gonna be such a stacked running back room though if they do do that. And you got Henderson, Akers, and then who are we saying Puka?
Yeah,
That'd be nuts.
Puka Williams. Have you seen him?
I have not, but I'll take
Oh,
your word for it.
he is just electric, man. He's got some red flags, but I watched him at KU. He's a 5-star recruit that went to KU, and there's another guy, Jermaine Martin. Just names to keep in mind that aren't like gonna cost a ton. Like, they're not gonna cost you a huge pick.
You
Puka's
think
probably gonna
AJ
go.
Dillon would have done well with us if we wouldn't have went like the Cam Akers route?
Yeah. I
What do you
mean,
think?
I think so. I don't think that they would have drafted him, but I think he probably would have done well. Kylan Hill's another one to keep in mind. Jarrett Patterson from Buffalo. And if you want to go the route, Anthony Jones, one of those guys, because Anthony Jones Jr. coaches the running backs at Memphis. We've had him on a show. I might actually drop that interview. It was pretty cool to have a running backs coach from Memphis, talk about Darrell Henderson and Kenneth Gainwell, and that's another guy, Kenneth Gainwell. Chuba Hubbard, Trey Sermon. There's some guys. I mean, if the Rams are going to get any running back, to me, they have a guy that's kind of in the middle as far as like Henderson is like built like Trey Mason. He's not like stick thin. And then you have Akers, who's built closer to like a Falk hybrid of a Gurley. I'm not saying he is Gurley, but kind of like a do it all back. Khalil Herbert's an interesting one as well. Out of Virginia Tech, but I would probably say you'd want to go with more of like a Puka Williams, a 5'10", $170 type of guy. That could be like, an electric type of, like just one of those guys in general. Just make something happen after the catch. I don't know.
Did you watch Snead's interview today, like the whole thing, or just like, kind of you know hear the quotes from like the Rams beat writers?
Yeah, I saw the quotes. I didn't actually hear the interview. I saw the quotes come up on my feed, and that's what I was basing the show on. But yeah, I mean it doesn't surprise me at all. Pretty much expected it. I like I've said, I don't believe that they're gonna keep Jared Goff. Um, but I guess we'll see if I'm wrong at some point or another. But
Yeah, I was watching it out of like curiosity. 'Cause I feel like the media is only gonna tell us so much, and I was like, what else did they talk about?
absolutely.
And then I just found it interesting because Les was bringing up the mobility part about quarterbacks, and I was like, well, this is really interesting. He's going into detail about the mobility,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and
There's
I was
this
like,
guy. He wears 4 for Houston. It's like
it would be pretty sweet. That's so box office, man. I hope. I wonder if they think about it. They definitely should be thinking about it from like a business standpoint, huh? Because like that'd be so much money. The jersey sales, I'm sure, selling out tickets. Be Watson, Donald, and Ramsey. Like,
it's
man,
true.
that just seems nuts.
I
I'm
know.
sure, maybe the investment will be worth it long term. Because if we do get Watson, that's like 10 years at least, right? Of like, just elite quarterback play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like the money would definitely turn up.
Well, I think I think the Rams are going to be fun. Like, the Rams can win a Super Bowl with Watson. They can win a Super Bowl with Stafford. They can win a Super Bowl with Rodgers. But I also think they can win a Super Bowl with like a guy like Gardner Minshew. I wouldn't throw out Wolford, to be honest with you. I wouldn't throw him out of the equation of winning a Super Bowl. Like, if they keep, which is what they're sounding like, they're going to keep Staley's defense intact and just have, just have Raheem Morris add his, flair to it. I think this defense should stay top 5, to be honest with you. Top 8.
I want to see some more David Long.
I'd like to see David Long develop. I am a little concerned. I haven't been super impressed with him. So on the roster right now, because Darius Williams is a restricted free agent, it is Jalen Ramsey and David Long at corner. So obviously that'll change. But yeah, I mean, that should be interesting. Who they go with there. Yeah. If we give Gurley 20 carries in Falcons game, we would have won. Wow, that's a throwback. The Falcons game.
The playoff game.
Yeah.
I think Brockers just hurt way too much.
Well, when Brockers got hurt, like that run game, they were able to run right through everyone. But before that, they were bottled up, So it was like the Falcons really, for the most part, were Tevin Coleman, Devontae Freeman type of offense. And if they didn't get the ball running, then you would just double Julio, and then there wasn't a Calvin Ridley on the other side to get things going. So, I felt like it was easier to control them than it is now, and somehow they're worse now. It's very odd. I think they'll be better, though, with Arthur Smith, though, for sure. So I'm going to, let's see, what time is it? All right, 11:53. So I'm probably going to head out in a little bit. Yeah, Lord Chris, let's see here. I'm just going to call you Chris because I think I'm butchering your name. I tried. Chris, where can the listeners and viewers find you on socials?
I just use Twitter, dude.
Okay.
I think my @ is at X Cortez. That's a 3 with the E.
Okay. I've seen you.
Yep.
I know who you are.
Yeah, I've been around.
Yeah, you're around. We interact every now and then. I've seen you.
Yeah, I like to show love, and then I'll just poke fun every now and then. Jump in just because it's Twitter. I could take it serious.
I feel that. Hey man, I appreciate you joining. It's been a lot of fun doing these little call-ins, and I mean, of course, you're not really calling in; you're just joining a channel. But I like to refer to you as calling in. It makes me look professional, and but no, for real, appreciate you. And we'll talk again soon, my friend.
Yeah, for sure, man.
All right, you have a good night.
You too.
All right, folks, that was Chris. Did anyone want to hop in before I get off? If anyone wants to. If not, I'm probably going to head out. We're almost at 2 hours. I'm pretty tired. I have a snowstorm to drive in. So. Is that number right? You got 138 people are watching right now. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, David. Gardner Minshew. All right. Hold up. So, okay, so people have a problem with the idea of Gardner Minshew leading this team to a Super Bowl. So I'm going to explain again because I have a video out about Gardner Minshew being the most underrated quarterback in the NFL. Guys ready? Okay. So Minshew he has, let's see here, a career passing of, let's see, so in 20 games started, he has a 62.9 completion percentage, 5,530 yards, 37 touchdowns to 11 interceptions, and an average of 6.9 yards per attempt. He did this with his best receiver being DJ Chark, who I love, but DJ Chark is not, yeah. So something just came up and it threw me off. DJ Chark is not the best receiver if he were to go to the Rams right now. He might be the third. So Gardner Minshew and what he was able to do with Jacksonville was pretty impressive. It's actually one of the best starts to a, you could argue it's the best start to a quarterback draft in the 6th round ever. It's a better start than Tom Brady. It's a better start than Mark Bulger. It's a better start than Matt Hasselbeck. So, just saying, folks, Gardner Minshew, I know it doesn't sound like the sexiest option, but he is not a bad option. And I understand when you have that flavor of Deshaun Watson and what have you, you're going to be like, all right, I don't want no Minshew. I want it all. But I'm telling you, folks. I'm telling you. I'm going to bring it up right now because I'm going to bring up my video. And I'm just going to read off my little graphic I put up with him and the core. Okay, so in the first 22 games played, 6th round quarterbacks, statistically, the best 3 statistically all time in the 6th round. Gardner Minshew played 19 games, or he started 20 games. He was 7-12 because he was on Jacksonville. 62.4 completion percentage, 5,304 yards, 35 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and a 92.1 quarterback rating, passer rating. Tom Brady in 20 games as the 6th round quarterback. He went 14-8 because he was on the Patriots. 64.3 completion percentage, 4,598 yards, 32 touchdowns, 21 interceptions, and an 86.9 passer rating. Mark Bulger, 22 games started, 18-4. Keep in mind, this is at the greatest show on turf. 63.9 completion percentage, 5,671 yards, 36 touchdowns, so one more than Minshew, 28 interceptions, 87.2 passer rating. Gardner Minshew has been more careful with the football on a lesser talented team. That's why his record is the same. His completion percentage is lower than those two, but he's thrown for more yards than Brady by a lot. He's thrown for 300 less yards than Mark Bulger, who played in he had 2 more starts than Gardner Minshew. And Gardner Minshew had 11 interceptions in those 19 and had more touchdowns thrown than Brady and 1 less thrown than Bulger. So at the end of the day, his 92.1 passer rating is better than Brady's 86.9 and Bulger's 87.2, but that's the guy that we basically want to get rid of. That's the guy that we want to say, forget about it. He can't win. He can't be a franchise quarterback because he doesn't have a sexy name. He's not a superstar. This is why the young quarterback ecosystem is dead. You get a guy that works out for you in the 6th round, and the first thing you're thinking is, let's replace the guy. Minshew would not get destroyed in the NFC West. Ooh, Goff is a better Trevor Siemian? That's a big yikes. Kupp is a stud when he is actually playing. My man John, appreciate you. I love your content. Everyone go follow John Redinger. He is the best tech YouTube channel in the business. There's not anybody even close. His, if you think my videos look good, his videos are unbelievable. They're just incredible, honestly. And he's got, I think, What do you have, John? You have like 1 million subs at this point. I mean, you're awesome. You gotta keep doing what you're doing. Appreciate that you love my content though. I love yours. Game recognized game. Although you're way up here, man. AZAA, appreciate you. If Goff is gone, where will he go, and what will it cost to move him? Then what would it take to get Minshew, Stafford, and Trey Lance? So if Goff is gone, where will he go? I think he goes to the Colts. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he goes to the Colts because I think Frank Reich is going to want to develop him, and I think he'd have some weapons there. Obviously, you have an 1,100-yard rusher in Jonathan Taylor. You have a defense coached by Matt Eberflus. So I think the Colts are an option. I think the Patriots are an option. The Colts have a lot of cap though, so they could eat that however many million, 27 million or whatever they'd have for this year. But think about this. You go and you get Jared Goff and he does well and you want to draft another guy at some point. You get him for 2 years. He has an out in 2023 where you could cut him and I think you save you only have like a $6 million cap penalty or what have you. So, I mean, he's pretty affordable. It's honestly overblown how crazy his contract is. They can move it and they can move it pretty easily. Now will they get a first rounder? That's the question. I think they get either a first rounder or a second and a third. But I think the Colts, the Patriots, the Lions are an option. Obviously because Brad Holmes was there when they drafted Jared Goff. So those are some teams. Aside from that, I mean, that's what I'll leave it at that. Maybe Denver, maybe the Jets. But those are the teams. There's enough teams out there in Miami where the Rams could trade Jared Goff. Oh, the Rams are trading Jared Goff. They're not going to cut him. They'll find a home for him. And then what will it take? What would it take to get Minshew, Stafford, and Trey Lance? So I'll start off with Trey Lance. You would have to have 2 first-round picks. You'd have to trade Goff, get a first-round pick, and then trade a 2022 first-round pick to move up and potentially get Trey Lance and draft him early on. Stafford would cost you a first and a third this year. So you would have to trade Goff, use that first rounder in a package to get Stafford. So at least a first and a third, I think. And then Minshew would probably cost you at most a third rounder. At most. Minshew would also you would have control of him for 2 years and he'd be under $1 million. You don't get a 5th-year option because he wasn't a first-round pick. So that's something to keep in mind, but that's probably the best option if you ask me. As far as value, Minshew is, you can't go wrong. If you give up a third rounder, get Gardner Minshew. Like I said, look at, the stats, 35 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Put him on the Rams, put him with Sean McVay. Could we be looking at a 6th round Tom Brady type of guy? Who knows? He doesn't have enough in Jacksonville. And they gave up on him for Mike Glennon, so he needs to get out of there. Brandon says, I would love Gardner Minshew. I think he's very capable of helping a very good team to the Super Bowl. I agree, Brandon. I think Minshew is legit. I think he's one of those guys, again, he's not the sexy option, so not everybody's going to give him his due. But Minshew's legit, folks. I wouldn't just be saying that if I didn't think it. I agree. Jake, like serious, he can't move the sticks. Goff. You think Rams sign Stafford? They won't sign him because he's not a free agent, and the Lions won't cut him. But I could see the Rams offering a first and a third by trading Goff, getting a first, and moving a third as well. The likelihood of landing Aaron Rodgers is probably around 1%. I don't think it's extremely likely, especially all the news that came out today. Niners got Stafford, no. I mean, they could. The Niners are also in the mix as well. Juju had his share of injuries. I wanted Juju, had very little knowledge of Cooper. The media has hinted that Goff doesn't work hard enough and is complacent. Rams paid him too early, and he has never been the same since he got his Instagram girlfriend. I can't speak on what I don't know, because I've heard people say that he has a drinking problem. I have no idea. I met Jared Goff and he was pretty nice, but I don't. That's all I know. No one wants to get rid of Cooper Kupp. I've never seen a worse combine than Paxton Lynch. Can't believe the dude went first round. Can't believe this dude had him in the first round. Honestly, you never know what Les is going to do, but I have faith in him for sure. A true wizard when it comes to wheeling and dealing. You're definitely right there. I agree with your assumption with Goff going to the Colts. They have a solid offensive line with Coach Reich. I think that's the best fit for him, and I think that's the best fit for the Colts because Jared Goff was better than Phillip Rivers the last 4 years. I don't care what anyone says. And I don't think Phillip Rivers was that much of an upgrade over Jacoby Brissett, but apparently they did. So they go out and get Jared Goff for the next 2 years. If he balls out, then maybe they trade him for 2 first-round picks, and then they make well in their investment. I mean, you can win a Super Bowl with Goff if you have everything around you. The problem is the Rams' offense they weren't perfect. They didn't have Saffold. They didn't have Gurley. They could have won in 2018, but, you could argue a lot went down in that game. We not getting a first for Goff. I wouldn't be so sure. Keep in mind, there have been teams in the past that have traded a first-round pick for, a Sam Bradford, straight up. So, I mean, let's not act like it's impossible. The day of the pocket passers passes by. Yeah, I agree. Goff would have had a chip on his shoulder if we didn't pay him. Kind of wish he would have had that alternate reality, but time to move on. Keep saying the stats. Trade for Minshew, sexy option. Minshew has swagger. Mullet Minshew. Let's see. We need a mobile quarterback. Minshew could help run RPO. Goff so dull. Fitzmagic is a UFA, just saying. I like Fitzmagic. Minshew is not on Goff's level. I disagree with that. I absolutely disagree with that, with all due respect. I think, Goff, when he is at his best, he looks awesome. I mean, he looks awesome when he's locked in. But how often is he locked in? Most of the time he looks poor. And so the Rams really need to move on from that because they can't have that inconsistency. And on top of this, what I'll say is that when you look at, say, Minshew doesn't have those high lows. I mean, Minshew's Minshew. He does what he does. He's only thrown 11 interceptions, folks. Jared Goff in his career, 2 years. Jared Goff in 2 years has 39 turnovers. Minshew has thrown 11 interceptions. The Rams just want a guy that's going to operate the offense well, off schedule, mobile, quick release, has an arm, decent arm. You don't need the biggest arm in the world, but decent arm, can throw the deep ball. And a guy that's not going to turn the ball over, and Minshew is that guy. He's the cheapest option. Yeah, Minshew is mobile. Now, keep in mind, folks, when I say mobile, I don't mean a sprinter. You don't need to be a sprinter. What I'll say is I think Patrick Mahomes was slower than Alex Smith. But Patrick Mahomes is a lot better of a mobile quarterback than Alex Smith, obviously. Because he uses his legs to buy himself time because he ultimately always wants to throw. He knows his best weapon is his cannon arm. There's no point in trying to risk getting hurt. He'll run if he has to, but he does not like to run. He likes to run out of the pocket, roll out, and create time. But that's the thing. That's Rodgers, too. These guys don't want to run. They want to buy themselves some time, get themselves a throwing lane, and that way they can throw it and show off their cannon arm. It's that simple. Minshew is the same way. He doesn't have a cannon arm, though. Bringing I kind of agree with that in a sense. Because I don't, we don't know about the girlfriend. I always say leave the family and everything out of it. We just don't know, Minshew mania. Yeah. Well, I will say he had a deep threat in, he had multiple. He had a guy, D.D. Westbrook, that really hasn't lived up to the hype, but, deep threat. Keelan Cole, deep threat. DJ Chark, deep threat. Now, none of those guys are better than what's on the Rams, but hey, they're deep threats, and Minshew was able to hit him in stride. Yeah, I think Minshew's a solid enough athlete for sure. He's just, like people are saying, like Herbert. Like Herbert, he's not a Herbert. He doesn't have, like, superstar traits, but you don't need superstar traits to win a Super Bowl. I mean, Tom Brady doesn't have any superstar traits. He's not like super, athletically gifted. He's a legendary he has a legendary work ethic, and he's very intelligent. But he doesn't have, like, the biggest arm ever. He had to work on that. He is not fast by any stretch. He doesn't really have much mobility, but he, moves around enough in the pocket to create some time. He's got a quick release. I think that's a really big thing here. Herbert's awesome. I mean, I said it earlier if you guys missed it. The Chargers are the best coaching destination in the last decade. That's why Brandon Staley went there. Brandon Staley knew what he was doing. I mean, that coaching job is going to be pretty easy. That team's ready. And I don't think Lynn's a bad coach. I just think Lynn struggles in, key situations. I think he struggles as a game manager, and that's that. But I think he's going to be a good OC for the Lions. The Lions are really building a great coaching staff there, and they add Pleasant now. It's like the Los Angeles Lions over there. Dwayne Eskridge, I like him. Still not a huge Jamie Newman fan from what I've seen. Jimmy G is made out of glass. Green Bay. Tavon is washed. John Ross, if you had to bet, who would you say is under center next season? I keep going all over the place, but if I had to bet, I'm not a betting man, I'm going to say not Watson, not Rodgers, not Goff. I tend to lean Stafford, to be honest with you. Yeah. I tend to lean Matt Stafford. If that's the case, I actually, 2 years ago, I wanted the Rams to trade for Stafford. Or a year ago. I don't remember. Something along those lines. But yeah, I wanted them to trade for Stafford. And I've always been a huge fan of his game. And I'll tell you right now, he's good enough to win a Super Bowl. He's Aaron Rodgers light. He's somebody that has absolutely been held back by his organization, and Matthew Stafford can 100% win a Super Bowl. He's been a top 7 quarterback for the last 5 years, maybe longer. Yeah, I mean, Stafford would be a no-brainer. I mean, there's only like a few quarterbacks in the league that throw over 5,000 yards, like Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Matthew Stafford, Matt Ryan, and like Stafford's done it like 3 or 4 times. He throws for a lot of yards. He'd have running backs, like serious running backs that you could just rely on. I mean, here's the thing. When Stafford was in Detroit, it was like Joique Bell, Reggie Bush, Adrian Peterson. Oh, we just got, Kerryon Johnson. Oh, now we have DeAndre Swift, Ty Johnson. I mean, it's all sorts of guys coming in and out. And with the Rams, you have stability with Cam Akers the next 4 years at least, and Darrell Henderson, and then if they wanted to get somebody else, they could. Not only that, it's not just Calvin Johnson, because they're not going to be able to replace Calvin Johnson. I can tell you that right now. They will not be able to replace Calvin Johnson. But, you look at like what he had right now. Kenny Galladay's always hurt, unfortunately. Stat Padford could not be any more wrong. I'm sorry, Rico. That's a bad take. He does not pad his stats. He tries to win, man. Go watch that video of him separating his shoulder, getting back up. He's going to the sidelines. They're trying to run a play without him with Dante Culpepper against the Browns to win the game at the goal line and on an untimed down. And he says, basically starts cursing at them. And he's like, get me the hell back in there. And he goes in and wins the game. And then basically his arm's like dead like that. Stafford is not a stat padder. He tries to win football games. I'm accepting calls. No one joined, so I'm in the live stream right now. Although I should probably head out because it's late. We're over the 2 hour mark, but yeah, I very, very high on Stafford. I love Jameis Winston as well. I don't know. I don't think the Saints are gonna move on from him. All right, guys. I'm yawning. I'm tired. You did call earlier. Henry Ford. What name are you? On Discord. I didn't see you. To be fair, I don't have I have it open, but I also have my Streamlabs open because I can't see the chat if I don't have it open all the way. It's in the Downtown Rams Discord channel. Oh, your AMA? Oh my god, I'm sorry. You called my personal and I don't get any notification when you try to DM me. That's the problem. But I really should I should get going. I do appreciate y'all a lot. Wolford can take a hit. Wolford just needs to know when to slide. I don't know if Goff for Stafford straight up is a fair trade. But hey, man. All right. Yeah, absolutely. We'll do it again. I'll do it tomorrow. Barring now I have to worry about the elements because I'm not gonna get myself killed trying to drive here to the office. Eventually, I'll set back up at home. Probably gonna get a new microphone and gonna get a new camera so I could leave this stuff here and then do it at my house. We'll probably do it a little bit earlier than later. I like it here because there's no noise, and I love the setup and I like consistency. I keep the tripod in the same angle. The helmet does not move. The desk obviously doesn't move. Nothing moves. I just take my laptop and head out of here and come back. So, but yeah, folks, that's gonna do it. Tomorrow we'll have another interview posted on the site. I'm gonna also rip up this video when it processes. I'm gonna post a highlight of this video, the rant I do on the MLB, the Hall of Fame and how pathetic that is, and that there's no Hall of Famers, and maybe some other content. Who knows? But I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, and I'll be back fairly soon. You guys take care.